Hello everybody and welcome or welcome back to my channel, the place where we make fun of the morons we see out here on the road, a bit like this proper garden tool in the van whose brain's obviously emptier than Brighton Beach in January. Or this dangerous cretin driving this foreign truck, showing us that why drivers should not be allowed behind the wheel of a 44-tonne truck when they've got an IQ lower than a snake's belly. Or maybe this plank driving a pickup truck, who obviously took a lot of time to make sure his load was as secure and as safe as a tissue paper condom. This from Chell and Baz, and as you can see they're stuck in a bit of traffic there, but nothing quite says I'm the sort of person who likes to hang around public toilets all day with my two hands thrust deep into my front pockets while never making eye contact with anyone, like using the grass verge as your own personal overtaking lane. For dunces that pull them sort of strokes, 6 months driving ban. Bye. I don't know why, but there just seems to be more low-capacity backwards drivers on the road than ever at the moment. Look at this one, just pulls out in front of this truck, hits it. Now everything's got to stop. Just because you got your indicator on it doesn't mean you can go. Here's Stuart approaching this mini roundabout here, but if you're a flake in a little blue car, you don't need to worry about the highway code. In fact, when you've got an IQ level that begins with a minus, you probably don't worry about much at all. And here's another real one-bar signal who's obviously as sharp as a bath sponge. Notice we're going round the roundabout, yeah? Here he comes from the left, look. Just comes on the wrong side of the bollard, indicates right and goes round the roundabout the wrong way. Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, so we're on board with Nick the old school trucker. Now he's actually coming off at the next exit, but he can't move over to the left because there's a driver in a car hanging around by his near side. But don't worry, that driver will soon make his presence known by scraping his car across the front of Nick's truck. That's exactly how he's going to make his presence known. Do you know what? Trying to get some of these pillowcase heads out here to drive safely and responsibly would be like trying to get an octopus to make an origami swan. I don't know what's going on. It's like some people get in their car and their intelligence gets in the back seat. Here's another trucker, Guy H, and as you can see from the bottom right-hand corner, he's only doing 40 miles an hour. Why is he going that slow on this sort of road? Well, this is the A75 up in Scotland, and for HGVs, the speed limit is 40 miles an hour. There's the sign right there. But for some non-readers, that ain't enough. Just watch this circus chimpanzee with an HGV. Almost takes out Guy's cab with his trailer, and if them trailer wheels had gone a little bit further over to the left and gone into that gravel, that truck would have gone over. And for the truck, the trailer, and the recovery, that would have cost 6 figures. I wonder how he would have explained the accident to his governor. Okay, so from one truck to another, but this time it's an army truck. I don't know what load he's carrying. Maybe some of you army guys will know what he's carrying and let us know down in the comments. But whatever it is, that load looks top heavy. And not only is he going into a tight roundabout, the roundabout cambers off to the left. Look at this. There's enough air under them wheels there. Almost loses it. Driver's touching cloth at this moment, shortly after the truck is touching terra firma. Hopefully the driver's okay. Few people have stopped to offer assistance, which is what we like to see. But if I was driving an 8-wheeler with a load like that looked top heavy, there's no way I would have gone into a roundabout with a negative camber off to the left that fast. And I'm not going to make a comment about the guy in the silver Mercedes not stopping to help because we don't know, he might have stopped out a shot. Here we are on board with Steve T in his truck on the motorway. Now this is part 4 of the Dumb and Dumber trilogy. You didn't know they'd done a part 4. Well, this is it today. And starring in this extravaganza of backwardness, we got the Muppet in the middle lane going nowhere fast. And then we got the crayon eater out in the outside lane there doing his best to keep the Durr in danger whilst letting everybody know he's as sharp as a rolling pin. Now it is frustrating when you're driving one of these trucks and you're stuck behind some donut in the middle lane. But for the few minutes of time you're going to save, it really ain't worth the big fine and the points you're going to get. Well, it ain't for me anyway. So from the motorway onto a suburban road, now stuck behind a bus here. There's something we all have to put up with. It's a pain in the arse. Well, unless, of course, you're a ship's anchor that drives a BMW, in which case you just use the pavement. Now, when you see such a driver, what you're actually looking at is a human equivalent of a participation trophy. This from Mark C. Have you ever wondered what goes through some of these idiots in these video clips' minds when they're driving? Yes, fresh air moves between their ears from one to the other, unhindered across that vast empty space of nothingness in their skull. I mean, just look at these pair of bottom feeders. Look, one followed the other like a lost sheep. Just because it's a two-way road, because the buses can't move, they just thought, oh, we'll just utilise the other side of the road. Why not? And now the pair of twats have got to go in the same direction as their mental development, backwards. Yeah, and when it comes to letting people know how backwards you actually are, nothing quite achieves this like pulling out of a side road without looking. That's a real blank fortune cookie right there. This from Alan in Windermere. Now, Windermere is quintessentially British, so of course the roads are going to be inhabited by quintessentially British bellends that drive on the wrong side of the road when they're going round a bend. On board with Aaron S on this bit of dual carriageway. Now, nothing quite says I use my brain and my wing mirrors less than Katie Price uses the words no, not on a first date, like pulling to the right without looking. What a melt. Here's Chris S behind a couple of low-capacity cupcakes who don't know how to give and take. Buses in the right-hand lane because that's exactly where you need to be when you're stopping at the next bus stop, which is on the left. Guy in the little black car, he don't want to yield to the big bus, but he's going to have to because in this case size does matter. And then the car driver stops next to the bus to speak his mind, which in his case will probably take 2 seconds. Here's Peter I negotiating 2 things. First one's the roundabout. Second one is this massive helmet who's obviously on his way home from an experimental volunteer drug trial and just pulls out straight in front of him. Dear oh dear. Now there are several ways to let people know that you've got the intelligence of a can of spray paint. But in my humble opinion, nothing trumps driving a box van under a low bridge, getting stuck and then trying to wedge it in there even further. Yeah, you do that, and people will know you're definitely the sort of bloke that if you've got boxing gloves on, you can only count up to 2. But if you really want to drive the message home that you're mentally challenged, nothing beats the tried and tested method of getting in a 44-tonne truck, hitting a low bridge, tipping the truck over and crushing the van what's next to you. And if that don't let people know that you ain't playing with a full deck, nothing will. Here we are with Ludmil, and as you'll see in a second, he's just about to stop at this red traffic light. But unfortunately, the Uber idiot in the Kia Niro with the IQ of 0 doesn't know what a red light means and probably thinks that the highway code is a Wi-Fi password. Now, as you all know, we've seen plenty of dangerous Uber idiots on here and brainless Toyota Prius drivers. But this one is on a different level of dumbness as he almost takes out the pedestrian as he's going through the red light there. But on the plus side, he did get caught. He done 8 months in prison, but unfortunately, he only got a 30-month ban, which should have been a lifetime ban in my opinion. Unbelievable. And here's another fully grown adult delinquent discovering that the first 42 years of childhood can be somewhat challenging as they just back straight into the car what's behind them. My goodness. Now, while this large truck approaches this low bridge, would you mind just hitting that little like and subscribe button down below if you haven't done it already, because it really does help me out. Thank you. Whoops, and she's gone over. But you weren't expecting that to happen, would you? Anyway, let's have a look at some 2 Wheel 2 brain cell morons. Okay, so first out the gate, we got this puss-brain space cadet going the wrong way up the A500 in Stoke. Now, somebody somewhere is in a shitload of trouble because they've obviously left the padded cell door open somewhere, and now the abscondee is trying to finish himself and other people. Bottom feeders like this are the reason that bleach has do not drink on the label and toothpaste has instructions on it. Now, there are some things that go really well together in this life. Apple pie and crumble, peanut butter and jelly, Tinder dates that never say no. But best of all, sponge-brained scooter riders that don't know how to use their brakes and ride straight into the gaping abyss. But hang on a minute, let's all take a moment to appreciate the speed at which that passerby sprang into action and rushed to the aid of that scooter rider there. And you can all rest assured that the scooter rider did only suffer minor injuries. And if you don't believe me, I'll put a link to this story down below. Oh yes, here we go. We're on board with Frank the Plank and he's following his mate Jake the Flake as they're going downhill. They're going fast. They're going for the personal best, either personal best or best in class. But unfortunately for Frank the Plank, all he's achieved today is being a first class Joe Blunt. Now this one's one of my very old clips, but trust me, this never gets old. This cyclist with a camera on moves to the right. Don't look over their shoulder. The car behind bibs them up. They stick 2 fingers up, which, as we all know, is the international sign for I should be looking where I'm going instead of looking behind and watch how I'm going to fuck up. Cyclists, keep your eyes on the road and look where you're going. Yeah, look at that. You don't see a DeLorean every day, do you? And some people don't even see them when they're directly in front of them. Here we go. Here comes Captain Clueless now, not looking where he's going, looking down at the road and ends up eating glass and plastic, just the way we like it. Well, that's it for this one, everybody. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. I'll put a playlist there on the right if you want to watch some more of my videos. Thanks to everyone who sent in clips. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.